Sandy's starting. Nope.
Felix played pretty well against Carolina not long ago. Do you feel like he's starting to string together some more starts where he's making the key stops?
Played one good game.
So you want to
I
see
mean, he hasn't, yeah, he has to play, I know, I'm not sure how much he's going to play the rest of the year, but he played good in Carolina.
You said last night you loaded up with Tippett, with Cates and Lawton because of the matchup. Will you stick with that? Did you see enough from those guys?
I got to see their lines tonight. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Is that sort of how you're going to determine things kind of moving forward here? Because just to see how the matchups work best for your group?
No, it depends on the team. Depends on the team. It depends how other guys are playing. Yeah, so I'm not locked into anything.
When you were talking about Tyson last night, you said you can see he's still tight around the net. Is that something you want to address with him before this game, or you're letting him figure out?
He'll figure it out. He's the scorer. He'll figure that out.
You focus so much of what your team is doing, but what do you see from Carolina? What makes them so difficult, such a tough match?
They're a good team. Great personnel. I don't do too much other than that. I'm not going to talk about Carolina.
You've seen a little bit of body work now from Lemieux, both before and since his return. What have you seen from him?
Can skate. He's aggressive. He's forechecking. Made a nice play the prior game. Yeah, so he's getting some minutes and he's played pretty well.
your team is 2-10 in the second game and back-to-backs. Is that part of the process of building a team, is learning how to play when maybe you're not at your freshest?
Yeah, well, the second half of games are, how can I put it? Yeah, we need to work at it. Not going to get too pick it apart.
Kevin Hayes said yesterday that Owen's one of the fastest skaters in the National Hockey League and that he sees a potential for 50 goals. Is that an accurate assessment or for his potential?
I'm not going to assess Tip that way. Those are players helping players out. I'm not going to start throwing out numbers. He's going to be a 50-goal scorer. Tip has a lot to work on his game. He's improved. As I said last night, the most important part where I think he has made steps is mentally. He thinks he can be a good player. He thinks he is a good player. That's as far as I'm going. I'm not going to give you numbers of what I think he's going to be. I mean, what do you want me to do with that?
Fairby finally got one yesterday. Now how much do you want to see more?
Yeah, he's been involved in the offense for quite a while. Has had chances for a number of games. Scores. Hopefully, he feels good and something else happens for him. But even though he hasn't scored the past 5 or 6 games, he's been more involved in the offense.
Back to what you said about back-to-backs, you guys need to be better when you're tired. Going back to training camp, I know that's like what you were preparing for, is the tired moments, gritty part of the season. Curious what's your thought process in managing it through the season to keep up that type of condition?
Yeah, see, I don't think back-to-backs is always being tired, and sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to do managing periods, managing your shifts, your shift lengths. Are we matching? There's a lot of things that come into play in back-to-backs. Quite honestly, being tired is probably the lowest on the list for me in what we have to learn as a team. So, again, I'm not going to go through the checklist, but we have some work to do just to stay consistent winning. Forget about back-to-backs. We have to find a way to be more consistent with just winning hockey games. But there are a number of things that come into the back-to-backs.
It's one of those situational things that come with experience and just being in those situations.
Going through them? Yeah. Again, we can spit out a record in our back-to-backs. We don't have a good record, period. And so I'm not even going to the back-to-backs. We need to get consistent in winning hockey games, period, in a regular season. And then we can start broaching those back-to-back situations.
It's 5 straight you've allowed a power play goal. Obviously, how much of that is structural issues? How much of it is you working in new guys like Owen Tippett, and there's going to be bumps in the road there? Yeah,
there are a lot of different people yesterday that haven't done it before. Again, I think it's part of the growth of our team, and I do think in changing personnel, in order for our penalty killing to be better. I think some different personnel has to be involved, whether it be us developing them or us looking for those types. Those are the type of players that I think we need to start looking at as far as bringing in here. Not the Gaudreaus. I think you backfill with other players that know how to kill penalties, that can win face-offs, maybe kick in 10, 12 goals. That's the key for us moving forward. Subtracting some guys out of here and then adding some people like that to a foundation of our team.
Are you still working on the cohesion of the PK pairs? Because you had connecting long for so long. Obviously, that's not an option for you anymore. Is that sort of, what you and Bradshaw have kind of worked on as far as, finding who works best?
Yeah, we're
together?
trying Lots and Tip together. We're trying to develop Tip, still have a ways to go there. Other than that, Casey's going to be there. Nick Delorier has done it. Other than that, I'm not sure where we're going to go as far as personnel. I think that's something that I think needs to be broached in the off season, personnel-wise.